Andrew. Oh, sorry, I muted you. Maybe that's a good thing. Hold on. You have to unmute your mic, please.
Okay, so you can mute me and unmute me. Is that what you're telling me?
Your mic was not connected.
I was talking to you prior to this, and then you muted me for this intro. And now I have to unmute myself.
I think everybody thinks that we just come on and say hello and we don't have a discussion prior to this. Just saying.
They probably do. They're not aware of like the behind the curtain stuff.
Maybe
we shouldn't have this discussion and you should just have me unmuted.
I think you might want to talk to your mother about some issues, a therapist.
Yeah.
How was your week?
It was a good week. It seems like things are, well, they're slowing a little bit for me, but only because I think there's no inventory. So my clients are all getting, tired. There's not much to look at.
Okay, well, we're going to do a summary of what's going on with the market this past month. We're going to compare it to last year. And then we're going to have a really great guest. Begüm is going to be coming in and talking about landscaping. And I gave her some pictures of my garden. Yay!
She's going to give, that's good fun. Yeah, I was chatting with Begüm pre-show, and she sounds really, I'm really excited to have her on and talk with her. She sounds like she's going to be great.
Yeah, so Begüm's new to Victoria, and so, but she comes with a very broad background and deep background in landscape architecture. But first, let's get on to the important stuff, which is what's going on with the market. Yeah. Are you ready to rumble?
I can do this.
Okay, so here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Here is our market update for December 6th,
2020.
Yeah.
I was going to say we have Begüm in the background too, waiting for us. So we're going to fire through these. We're going to give them all the time they need, but we're going to fire through them. And I'm going to stop talking so you can do that.
Okay, so sales are up this month. I went with the 30-day report that we get at the end of every month. So 795 sales.
Yeah. Over 577 in 2019, a huge difference.
Yeah. 823 new listings. So that was up too, which was surprising to me.
Yep.
But over 750 last year. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. And then again, we're down in terms of the actual active listings. And Jane, if I could just do a bit of an aside, I did a little bit of looking here. Actually, just pull up my other screen. And I just want to really briefly touch on this because this was really interesting to me. Except where is it? Oh, there. Can you still hear me, Jane?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, oh no, this is not it. Okay, let's go on. But I'm gonna be pulling up something. I just want to talk about the actual. People think that when you see that number of like 1,800 listings, what that actually means is kind of crazy stuff.
The active listings.
Yeah, active listings. Okay, now I've lost it. Okay, never mind. Jane, I'll pull it back. We'll talk later.
Okay, well, this is actually probably more detailed information than most people look at, but it shows the sale price of single family homes by price range in each area. And just starting on the upper left, you can see Oak Bay has had a lot of sales, more so than normal. So total sales for Oak Bay year to date was 265, which is, to me, I don't know what the number was last year, but it is significant. Normally, it's not one of our busiest areas. And the fact that it's so high in price has affected the overall average of houses in Victoria in general.
Yeah.
Lots of houses also above the $1 million range. And I had a listing that we had to price under $1 million to get a ton of action on it. Just was going gangbusters. Okay, second busiest area is Saanich East, as usual.
It's a large area as well, which is one of the reasons it's busy. It's also quite a popular area where the university is. So that's one of the reasons a lot of people are going there. I pulled up the stats I wanted to show. Jane, could you go back to the last screen really briefly?
Yep.
So when you see 1,800 active listings, that's in Greater Victoria Real Estate Board, which includes Souk and Cobble Hill, and Souk includes Port Renfrew and so forth. So 1,800 listings across the board. May look like, oh, there's still a fair bit of inventory that's, down from last year, but it's still a lot. But when you actually look at, so when I do a search for actual listings in the core, and when I say the core, I'm talking about not including the Saanich Peninsula, not including the West Shore. And when I look at the number of active listings currently on market, let me just pull that back here. We only have, for single family homes, we have 222 active is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
And when you take that and you look for homes under $1 million, that takes you down to 60. Oh, that's with made with 3 beds, 2 baths or more. So your kind of cookie cutter home that people tend to be looking for. There's only 60 in the Greater Victoria core area under $1 million. So there's not much inventory. That's what I wanted to kind of highlight for folks.
I just want to say that's very Victoria-centric of you. It is.
It is Victoria-centric, but I wanted to show, like, there are people looking just in the core, and I can do the same for West Shore and Peninsula.
Okay.
But when we talk the Greater Victoria area, that does include areas even beyond the West Shore and the Peninsula. So, I mean, that
and the
islands. Yeah.
Yep. Well, we're down as well. We're down like 25% from last year. So 23 to 1,800. Yeah. Almost 2,400 to 1,800.
That's why we're seeing the multiple offers and the bidding wars and so forth yet again.
So people really work on a price continuum, which is kind of what Andrew is not alluding to, but really he is, because if somebody wants to spend $800,000 on a house, they're not going to get one in Victoria unless it's a piece of crap. And so they're going to move outward. Pardon?
Language. This is a family show.
Well, they're going to move outwards, and they're going to move out to Colwood and Langford. Royal Bay right now is extremely busy. You can see here they had 28 homes, 27 homes in the 750 to 799, 28 homes in the 800 to 849. And so if you want to buy a reasonably priced home, and I'm saying reasonably in air quotes, you are going to be going out to Colwood or West Saanich, which would be like Brentwood Bay area, or you're going to go out to Souk.
Yeah.
So, which has homes in the $650 $1,000 range. So you really want to work with somebody who knows all the areas. I've been working with clients from Toronto, and I'm originally from there, so I can sort of talk from the perspective of where they're moving from and what they're going to get here. And so moving to Souk is kind of like moving to Port Hope in Toronto. Like it's a smaller secondary, or Dundas, Ontario, outside, and it's a bedroom community where people commute, and it takes about an hour to get downtown from there.
Jane made a point about people buying in a continuum, and Jane, I'm sure you've also found this. People will approach you and say, do you work in X area? That's where I'd like to live, and do you have experience there? And we have experience all over Greater Victoria, generally speaking, but we have our areas of more specialty. But the fact is, if someone is searching within a price continuum and they have limited funds, it may be that you start looking in one area and you end up in another area. Whether that's starting, I've definitely worked with folks who, have initially the thought that they could live in Greater Victoria, only to find that no, they really can only afford a home in Souk or up in Mill Bay or Cobble Hill or some such thing. So.
Yeah. And if you look at you can see the angle of the pricing from the top left to the bottom right, you can see that is the continuum. So the pricing, if somebody says to me, I want to spend $800,000, I'm going to ask them, what lifestyle do you want? and then we're going to slot you into where you fit. So I could help you find a home in Saanich East, but it's going to be a significantly different home than you're going to get in Colwood or Langford. Colwood or Langford, it's going to be a newer construction, right?
Yeah, for the same price point. Yes.
Okay. So this just shows the rhythm of real estate. And normally we peak in May.
We need like a beat to come on with this. For the rhythm of real estate. Yeah, not that beat. Okay, so what we're seeing here is actually, it's been really interesting because the number of sales over the last 4 months has been steady, like almost exactly the same number of sales. Whereas the number of listings has been slowly going down as we get towards November, December. And it doesn't show a stat for November there, but it's showing that the graph is going down on the far right. So that's based on a projection, I guess, that they have?
I think so. Yes. Well, it shows you can see it's just over 800. We're still higher than normal. So absolutely. Yeah, normal sales at this time of year were usually in a regular market around 450. And then last year, they were around 600. So we're over 800.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So the point of this graph is it shows you this line is the number of sales, whereas the bars show you the number of listings. So your list to sale ratio is quite good right now, and it's getting to be 1-to-1. Total active listings is going down. So that's not surprising to me because of the time of year.
Although, again, if you look at the past bumps and rhythms in that, you can see we're much lower than we have been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the whole year literally shifted, don't you find? Like 2 months?
Yeah, because of COVID, for sure. Everything was just put off for a few months at the beginning of the year, shifted back.
So, and the result is because people have been looking for homes, and those who have had jobs have been able to afford to still buy a home during COVID. And so they have been moving into single family homes, and the average price has gone up. Keep in mind, this is average, so it's affected by those high-end sales in Oak Bay and Saanich.
Yeah. And you can see the April-May average prices were lower. A lot of pessimism and fear at that time. But if you look at the arc, take out that little drop in April and May, and you look at the general arc of pricing, sort of draw a line from the beginning of that launch in 2019, August, September, October, November, and you can almost project that on out, and you can see that we kind of end up where we are in November. Yeah,
over 1 million.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to compare also to condos and townhomes. And what's interesting to me is condos have remained steady. They really took a hit, 15% hit in the spring. And they've recovered slightly, but I would say over time, if you look at this back in 20 years, it's going to look like a flat line. Whereas townhomes went down and then they've gone up. And I think that there's been a move towards townhomes for the yards and the fact the space is vertical. So people have space. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because prices for condos, I guess there's no headline above that says condos, but that's the top line is condos. My impression is that condos are starting to gain attention. So I think we're going to see, maybe it will stay steady, but that little drop in November is probably going to be corrected for the spring. It's going to be going back up, as is everything else. But yes, absolutely, people are really all about having a little bit of space and maybe a little bit of yard.
Yeah.
So
this is the home price index. So you were talking about the core region.
Yeah.
And I like this map because it shows an increase in different areas of the city. This is based on a kind of an ideal home in each area. So you can see the biggest growth has been in Esquimalt and Vic West.
Mm-hmm. 8.9% in Esquimalt, and Vic West at 9% growth. Those are the areas that have had the most room for growth as well. They tend to sort of follow, again, it's that chocolate fountain analogy that I'd like to use, where, the other areas have sort of filled up, and then it starts to, and the others have been kind of empty, and then it starts to fill them once it reaches saturation.
And also, I mean, I'm not originally from Victoria, and so historically, I don't have any prejudice against Vic West and Esquimalt, but it kind of got the bum rap for a long time. And I think that it is one of the better areas to invest because of the potential for growth. And you can see just driving across the Blue Bridge from Victoria, where the HPI was 870, to Vic West and Esquimalt, you're down at 767 and 720. So there's, for access to the core, these are both great areas.
A lot of people in Victoria who've lived in Victoria and grown up in Victoria have blinders on around some of the areas that are actually key areas that are just primed for growth. And Oak Bay has always been, where maybe I must say again that I don't always understand the interest in Oak Bay. It's got some great beaches, some nice villages, but a lot of older homes, and you're kind of far from the happenings, and maybe that's what people like about it. But if you look at a city and you look at where the location of Vic West and Esquimalt are, it's still really close to the ocean. A lot of great, just so close to the core, and yet it's traditionally been the wrong side of the tracks. And we went on a haunted walk at Halloween, and you hear all kinds of great stories about things that happened back, here and there. And that side was not as well developed for many, many years, and it's because of the bridges and the access. But nowadays, there's no reason you shouldn't be going there. It's going to grow big time, I'd say. I think it's the next kind of False Creek development kind of. I mean, that's sort of where it's, if you're going to use a Vancouver analogy, it's the other side.
And Toronto would be Harbourfront for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And then on the West Shore, as I said, Colwood's one of the hot areas, up 9.7% from 746 to 746 from 680. And then Langford 11. From 641 to 715. And that's obviously, I think, the ideal home is kind of your regular everyman home, which is not what you would find in Bear Mountain. Bear Mountain is more the higher end.
Right. Yeah. I mean, actually, I'm looking at this and thinking for 715, you're actually not finding too much today in Langford. Nope. That's an average price, but that's not. That you're not going to find a good home for 715, but you might find you actually will find a newer home in a very high density area, but not a good family home with a yard and maybe a suite.
Yeah, you'll find a home on a postage stamp lot with about 3,500 square foot lot, and it'll be like 3 bedrooms up, kitchen, bathroom. Yeah. Living room on the main floor. Yeah. But Zook has done well. So they've gone from 536 up to 624 for their benchmark price. And the Highlands has done awesome from 868 to 923, up 6.3%.
Yeah, a lot of acreages in the Highlands, a lot of larger properties. A little bit harder access in and out of there, but it's really centrally located for Victoria.
Oops. And Metchosin has also done very well, from 937 to 986, up 5.2%. I could tell you the sweet spot in Metchosin is just over 900. So if you want to sell quickly, just I would list just under that. Okay, and then finally is a peninsula. The HPI is showing us, that's a home price index, that Sydney has done well, 9.6%. From 659 last year to 723.
Mm-hmm. And that's a similar number to what we saw in Colwood Langford in terms of average pricing, which is, and Sydney's a wonderful place to live in, a great retirement community. There's a lot of condos there, which might be bringing that pricing down. in the core of Sydney, but there's also a lot of great single family homes.
Yeah. So this is just for houses. So
Right.
so at Sydney, you're going to get an older home that's usually a rancher. It's a flat community, so it attracts generally retirees who can walk everywhere. And the peninsula is comprised of these areas, Central Saanich and North Saanich in Sydney. And Central Saanich has done well, up 12% from 750 to 840.
Big jump. Yeah.
Yeah. And North Saanich has gone from 956 over $1 million to $1,045,000, up 9.4%. I've been showing properties up there and it is hot. So I saved this one for last because this is the sales to active listing ratio, which shows that we've gone from a balanced market to definitely into a seller's market.
Yeah, we were slightly in a buyer's market in April. And then that just disappeared and evaporated. And now we're really strongly in the seller's market.
Yeah. So this just tells you what your percentage chance. Everyone thinks that when a for sale sign goes up that the house sells. Well, it doesn't. And likely that's why realtors ask for the commission they do, because we pay for all the marketing and we get paid on a contingency basis. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can create. It's interesting because everybody can create their own.
You've muted, Andrew.
I guess I didn't want to hear myself. You know, if we're paid based on risk and reward. So if we take on the risk of listing a home for sale and it doesn't sell within the contracted period, there's the risk it will go to another agent. There's a risk that the seller will change their minds, not have it for sale. And we've put a lot of time, energy, and money into the marketing. So if someone was willing to pay you upfront for that risk, then there's maybe discussion to be had. And I think our industry is always open to those things, but for the most part, we work based on risk versus reward.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so next up is Begüm. So Begüm comes from Turkey. She moved to Victoria just less than 2 years ago. She has worked on big projects in hotels and mansions, but she is looking to work with homeowners here to help them figure out how to improve their curb appeal and work on their gardens. So whether or not you're staying in your home or you're getting it ready to sell, Begüm is your lady. Let me just bring her in here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. So nice to hear you. Actually, what a wonderful information you shared with us. It was amazing.
Thank you. So, well, I interviewed Begüm in the spring and we were talking about curb appeal then. And since then, you've been working more so in Victoria. How's that going?
Actually, great. I had a couple of gardens, house gardens, and right now I have a hotel project, a new urban development project, which is great for me too. This is also my skill. But when I was listening to you, I also dream about condos. I should also work with condos because creating small gardens with balconies and terraces, it is also wonderful value that you can add a property, whatever you have.
That's true. And you can really create your own personal space, even like on a small balcony.
I believe in that.
Okay. So I've got your presentation set up here. So let's share the screen and you can walk us through all of this. Let me just make it a little bigger.
If it is a PowerPoint, maybe you can.
Oh, yes, I can. Okay, so you can make big differences with the small changes. Awesome.
Yeah, actually, it is like a small touch, a small makeup. Before you go out, you put a lipstick on your lip and it changes everything. The landscape is a magic. I mean, this is what we do.
So what I noticed before and I noticed now, you use a lot of vertical and round objects in your design. Is that true? Is that in my head?
No, this is a great observation. Curves and straight lines, they increase the impact of the landscape. I mean, if you use also grass area in a larger form, and if you could use the landscape pieces at the corners and at the sides, you create a breathable space, but you also create an livable space too. For example, in that entrances, what I have observed in Canada, driveways are the main entrance system, but unfortunately they are mainly hard landscaped areas. But with, as I mentioned before, with small touches, small plant areas, small pots, and that kind of stuff, you can create a totally different effect. In your business, for example, in selling a house in real estate business, you do staging for the indoor area. Why not outdoor staging? I mean, you have to have an image. First look is important. In 5 to 6 seconds, you observe whether it is your dream house or not. And the entrance has a big impact on it.
Okay. So here are some ways you suggested. Aren't these attractive?
Budget is important when you want to change your home, but it doesn't have to have you don't have to have a huge budget. I mean, with small pots, with color ornamentations, these are small accessories that can change your home. You can have a modern, totally modern look, or traditional look, or Mediterranean look. These are small concepts that you can add and enjoy your entrance.
I'm looking at the bottom left photo and thinking, what would that look like? Imagining that without all those blue pots contrasting the red brick and all that beautiful, color and the white, and just the different feeling you would have if it was just the bare brick.
Yes.
And just how much more alive this and welcoming this entrance is.
Exactly. You have a how do you say, story with your home and yourself right now. When you enter your home, you enjoy it. It has a feeling.
Yeah. Actually, when one of my very first listings that I had was a friend of mine on King Street, and she had a green bush in the front. And I didn't notice it until the very end, but she had actually stuck plastic flowers in the plastic roses in the bush to bring out the color. Okay. So tell us about this.
Yeah, this is it is a 1 hour job actually. A guy who sells he buys houses and convert them to different system. He sent me a photo. What can I do with this area? It looks so, cold. I just said, put a little bit red to the door with pots and something. This is what he had done with his budget. But the surface, hard landscaping is important. In the first image, you see that this naked concrete doesn't give a cozy atmosphere, but you have to play with the hard landscape area too. But whatever you use, for example, on the left-hand side, you see the naked concrete with the columns, which gives a really like a left house. But on the third photo, you see this anthracite dark image with the same concrete. We haven't changed so much, but it gives a really friendly effect. And a sitting area, yes, you have right now you have a story. You can have your coffees with your friend and sit there, but otherwise you would just pass there, and you wouldn't dream something special about this area.
Would you recommend putting a bigger kind of woven carpet or something in that area as well?
After this stage, it depends on you, Jane. You can always do this. For example, it depends on your lifestyle. For example, if you are white shirt person, you don't have too much time maybe spending time here, but just quick coffee, quick time. But if you are for example, housewife, I would change it in a different way.
Okay.
The carpet would be amazing with your friends, a coffee time. I mean, these are small touches to create atmosphere for you according to your lifestyle.
Okay, let's see what's on the next one.
I was just going to go back. I'm liking the two-tone on the concrete.
Yeah.
It creates a little bit more purpose and depth. The concrete was painted two-tone, and I think that's just a great move as well.
You mean with the darker side?
On the side, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, it's fine. I'm terrible at things like this. I'm good at seeing it and saying why it's better, but I'm terrible at the design.
No. You shared an incredible observation about my landscaping, curves and lines. This is the same effect with curves and line. Mm-hmm. You use the impact of the color. For example, Andrew recognized the color part. You recognize the shape part. This is amazing.
We're a great team.
Yeah.
I love this on the left, what you've done with the front entrance. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is a general example. This is not specifically mine, but this is what you see. It was a really cool, and you can't dream about this house. These are small touches that you can change with plantation, and you could also add color to that. It depends on the owner of the house or the user of the house. But for example, in the staging process, you could use some pots. Temporary, but you can create a dream. You sell dreams to people. They don't buy just plain surfaces. They buy dreams. And if I would buy a house, I want to dream about it. It is the same with the second, for example, picture. Grass had a great effect on that. Small touches again. On the left-hand side, again, shapes and paving. Otherwise, it is the driveways that I was mentioning. Hard landscaping is great, but you have to add green in order to create a homey effect. It is a home right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was noticing on the right, you have a variety of different colors of green.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
This is
my backyard.
Yeah, this is, you know that this is a half an hour job, actually. It could be worked on it. But you have, for example, incredible view, Jane. I would certainly use a bar-shaped seating area in the lower patio. And I would have a wonderful drink there during the sunset. And we have added small, again, corner style plantation when you are accessing to your patio area. And these small touches, again, create a different impact. I don't know whether you feel it or you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. I have to send this to my husband.
Please.
I love the patio idea or the seating area. I never thought of that.
I would use that.
What do you think, Andrew?
I'm trying to see. So I see the before, and then Begüm has done a digital landscape on the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah,
that looks really nice, and it leads you into the picture, you might say. So whereas before it was a lot more monochrome. I'm now using photographic reference, but the composition here just leads you in and invites you to go towards that view. Whereas before, you weren't really seeing the land. You'd probably just look out at the view only, but you wouldn't see the land itself, and they complement each other.
Yeah, and the are those cypresses?
Yes.
Yeah,
cypresses is my favorite plant. They are sculptural.
They frame the view.
Yes.
Okay. I'm learning. Okay, this is also my backyard.
Yeah. I haven't worked enough on that photos, by the way. I will work more. But for example, in that example, how do you call that? Lazy bed or the sitting?
Like a day bed, like an
A
outdoor
day bed,
Day
yeah.
bed. Yeah, for example, this day bed. Can you imagine your kids at the gardens with a book, with a coffee? Normally, this corner, you wouldn't use that area, but small steps towards this area with a day bed in it, you can use this corner. This is a small corner touch. I haven't done too much stuff, but I would certainly use some plantation under your second floor area because it's a left area. I would cover it with plant. On the other hand, a small day bed area. This is it. And you have a corner. A third room of your, maybe first level or fourth room of your first level. These are all atmosphere that we created. They are new rooms for your project or properties.
Okay, something to plan. Awesome. Thanks, Begüm.
Thank you.
Okay, I love this. This is so West Coast too.
Yes, actually, this is a project that we are. This is the inspiration files again that we work on here in a project on Douglas Street. That was a hotel building. You will see the image of the building in the next slide. But what we can do here, what we wanted to show, you can have just a facade. You don't have a huge garden, but you can play with it in a very neat way. These are small examples of that. If we could go to the next slide, I will show what I'm talking about.
Okay, I just want to say this would be great for parkades.
Exactly. For example, this is the building that we are working on right now on the top area on Douglas Street. We said that before entering the coding, what we can do, we can attach some plantation to this building and little bit light, diffuse lighting. And with this, again, I will say makeup, we can create a different impact on the building right now because it will be a welcoming building. But right now, this is a building, you don't want to go towards it. This is just a building. But if you add a little bit landscaping, lighting, it will have a totally different effect. And I hope I will show you it next year.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's the before.
Yeah, this is the before part. This is the same and this is the same building, but the entrance part. This is a hotel, so we just need to be more welcoming to the clients or guests. If you go further to the next photo, for example, what I have advised them, what we are working on right now, we just need to create a small patio when they get up in the morning before they go for a seaside or something like. They should have a coffee there. They should enjoy a little bit the atmosphere in front of their hotel. Otherwise, they will just pass through the hotel. They will just stay during the night. But if they could stay a little bit more at their patio, they can create memories. This is the memory part.
Yeah. So they enjoy the space as opposed to just walking through it.
Yeah. These are different examples about terraces. These are not all my actually examples, but you can see, furnitures, outdoor furnitures, outdoor accessories. I can't tell it right.
Accessories.
And also different plantation methods, sometimes linear, sometimes curvilinear. It depends on the area again. It should be worked on it. So this is a cozy sitting area right now. Can you imagine, for example, an empty version of one of these photos? Just a hard landscaping or grass area, you wouldn't want to go there. But right now, you just want to take your drink, coffee, whatever you have. You just want to spend time there. But we consulate, we do advisor job. They send me the photos. I just work on it a couple of days. Then they have a different room again, and a different room for them.
It's interesting you say that because I've sold a few places with patios that overlooking other buildings. One was overlooking Tim Hortons. And so the one on with the Tim Hortons, literally you could almost touch the window.
Mhm.
And so we added 3 cedars on this patio just at one end so that it broke the view up. And then on another one, we had a view of this building. It was about 20 feet away, and we stuck up folding screens, and then we put some very colorful chairs out to make a seating area. And it's interesting how the comments just changed after that adaptation.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
When you think about a home with a certain number of square feet and a certain number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and the cost of doing an addition to that home, of adding another room, for example, physically getting in the contractors and doing the construction of that, versus building a space using the furniture and the plantings, the outdoor space, you can add value to your home. You can add value in terms of monetary value as well as use value without the same kind of expense. By doing what you're doing here, Begüm. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. The person that I work with at Vancouver, he told me that I wish I knew you 10 years before, because minimum 10% increase we could achieve with these small touches. It is true, actually. Small touches make huge differences.
There's a condo for sale on Fitzgard, or it was for sale, and it looked at a concrete wall, like exactly what we're seeing in the lower right. And I thought, when I looked at it after our spring session, I thought if they had put a mural on it, even,
Yes,
they didn't have to put anything living, but if they'd put a mural on it, it would have totally changed the whole outlook of that condo. And as like, nobody bought the condo because it's just a wall, but look at the difference, the softness on the lower right there. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, it is important. And mirrors also add space to the area. When I use mirror, for example, I always use also plantation next to it, because it will, how do you say it? You will see a depthness there. It will create a depthness.
Can we go back one? Because I wanted, speaking of mirrors, I just want to comment on an observation I had. Oh, go back 2, please. Yeah, this Arbutus, this hotel here, I find that the mirrored doors are not very welcoming, and I just wondered if you might comment on that too, because mirrors often are really helpful, but here it feels like you're actually being pushed away from this entrance. It doesn't feel at all like an entrance to me. It doesn't feel at all welcoming. And I know that there's a rental agency in there for cars as well, but it essentially to me says, go away. It doesn't say come in.
This is Feng Shui. But your observation is Feng Shui rule, and it is true. In the entrance, it should be used, that part. And we will cover it, Andrew. Next year, you will see a different image.
Excellent. Yes.
We're all learning. Okay, this is a before and after.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good example before and after. This house is a terrace house, and they have a view, but full of huge high-rise buildings. So we have created them a cozy atmosphere, seating areas. Right now, she calls me and tell me that we spend our time at the terrace. We don't go inside. This is in life. Otherwise, they will just stare at the terrace, hard landscaping. But right now, they have a life there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than visual. This is about lifestyle.
Yeah.
I noticed also, just in a point here, that she does have the before pictures in gray, and the after pictures are in color. Just good.
Yeah. Even you look at this gray photo on the left, and it would have been gray anyway.
Just concrete.
I love it though, and I love the use of the wood because it warms it up, and then the contrast of the green.
And this area is before furniture photo, actually, but you can put some pillows, candles, lighting instrument. You can create different atmosphere according to your lifestyle. We add value, then you live whatever you want. Everybody
in downtown Victoria should be watching this.
I hope. I want to really change the lives. This is for example, this is an example. There's a wonderful potential here. there's a sea. But before we advise this, how do you call this?
Doc?
Duck. Actually, before that, they couldn't enjoy the sea. It was just a picture of or a frame. But right now, they can sit at the stairs. They can touch the water. When the water is higher, they can feel it. And with small pots, it's a different. I mean, it is a. We lengthened the garden. The garden is also there. Otherwise, it was a area just left and not in use.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for example, this is a small playground area for the kids. We use some pots for the small, strawberry pots, herbs pots. These are aesthetically nice, but on the other hand, you utilize your landscape. So kids can touch their gardens. They have a separate area, but they have also separate house that they can play with. It was a left area, and it is not a so large area, but we used the effect of plantation. We hide the background, the wall, so it feels like there is a longer area there or larger area there, and the kids love that. Little corner, they played with it. I love seeing the also result. If the family can enjoy the area, this is my gain actually.
Yeah. So you use the green to extend the grass almost.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, we used here the effect of cypress trees. I call them Cupressus sempervirens in Latin form. Actually, this area was, with chaiselongs, with longer sculpture effect. I reduced first of all the impact of the building. I emphasize the garden with these taller trees, and I also use their vertical impact on it. During the nighttime or evening with lighting, you don't feel the building. You just feel magical atmosphere. To have a glass of wine there with the effect of the water. On the left-hand side, there was a really tiny area. It was quite a small area, but it is at the front of the living. It was front of the bedroom. So I thought that maybe a small area with water features, impact of the voice of the water, and also the combination with the colors. When you get up in the morning, you see something nice. Otherwise, you would just see a plain gray area. So we don't want to do that.
Right. Okay. And this is you.
Yeah, these are magazine press side of this terrace. For example, in the middle, in the middle photo, this is my terrace. It was my terrace actually. I moved from that house, but I made that terrace. It was one day I said, "Oh, I want to do something for myself too." It was one day job, and for example, we even had a turtle there when my daughter was so small. We had a small garden in front of my bedroom. Whenever I get up in the morning, I could see this view instead of the building behind. I have changed my view, and I have changed my point of view also about life too. It is a transformation. What you add to your terrace or garden, it is also add value to your perspective to life. This is what we have done in that photos actually.
That's a really interesting point. People go out and buy those sunlights for winter, and this is a much more profound effect. Is you're creating a mood enhancing. This is therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is for now. I shortened it. I wish I would have more time to share that kind of examples. Life is amazing with landscape.
This is awesome. I'm just seeing there's some comments. Danielle, who's my assistant, says, I love it. Do most of these examples have irrigation systems? Wondering if the average person not good with plants would have an easy time with keeping them up.
Actually, I have irrigation system and I have installed it by myself. Normally I use people, because it is a wonderful question, because if you don't use irrigation system and if you have a busy life, then it will be left. So you can't keep the grass. Instead of grass, we use different plantation system. For example, the contour is an amazing system, especially for Victoria. It is a type of grass. You don't need to maintain it. It's an amazing system. And so some Carex systems, you don't need to deal with maintenance. If you have to choose plantation type according to your lifestyle. Irrigation is valid. Infrastructure, drainage system is really important also. Infrastructure is more important than the plantation type, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I find here, like in the winter, it's rainy and cold. And then in the summer, it's very dry. So our grass just dies off. Plus, we have a dog who really affects. Like if I did my garden, I would have to somehow make a barrier so the dog wouldn't go in and dig through all the gardens. So
It sounds like Begüm, you can really work with someone's lifestyle and you help to enhance it. So whatever the lifestyle is, you would be asking questions like, do you have a dog? And, you know, do you like to take care of your plants? And does it bring you joy to take a watering can out or the hose, or would you like, you know, or are you always at work and you just want to come home and enjoy?
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you create the atmospheres, but they can't use it. Mm-hmm. So there is no mean. For example, right now I have projects in Turkey, right now also in Morocco, different countries. Before I start with the project, I always get a brief. Mm-hmm. What do you want from me? Then I add my professional opinion to that. I combine these two systems together. Then I introduce them a new lifestyle with my experiences. It is important. I can't just create my dreams. This is not fair. If I would do that, I should always be aligned with their lifestyles.
That's great. I was going to ask you about your process. If someone was to call you and what process you walk through, and it sounds like you just answered that.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you guys want to get in touch with Begüm, how do you say your last name?
Eryılmaz.
Eryılmaz.
Yes.
So you can reach her at begmtasarim.com, and you can email her at info@begmtasarim.com for those of you who are listening via audio. And do you have a number for people to reach you?
Yes, 236-882-3051.
Okay, awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming, Begüm. I really like that presentation.
That was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was amazing.
I'm going to be talking to my husband. I'll let you know what he says, okay?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, have a good week.
Bye, Begüm. Bye, everybody.
All right, so Andrew.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. I'm gonna want to talk about patios and such over here.
What would you like to talk about next week?
We had something lined up, did we not? Don't we?
No.
Oh, used up all of our lineup stuff. Okay. Holidays, selling over the holidays. How's that?
Okay, or how about things to see and do during the holidays?
That too, all of it.
Okay, awesome. So okay, next week we're going to be talking about Christmas or holiday season in Victoria.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a great week. I'm JaneJohnston with the BriarHillGroup at REMAX Mosen, and this is
Andrew Plank with the Andrew Plank Group at LePage.
Yeah, and we are the presenters of He Said, She Said, They Said.
A real conversation in real estate.
Right. So if you have any questions, give us a call. If you want to reach Andrew, you can reach him at
250-360-6106 or email me at info@andrewplank.com.
And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at JaneJohnston at the BriarHillGroup, BriarHillGroup@gmail.com. My number is 250-744-0775. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.